Background and action.
Calling this recess meeting back to order. This is the most important council meeting I think the city of Yonkers has ever had.
It was the most challenging schedule I've ever encountered.
We have something like 380 speaking roles. The riots and the demonstrations.
The drama happened here, and you just have to put the camera on it and tell it truthfully, and I think they do it well.
This is a story about how politics is actually practiced in America. You can run a long way as a politician in this country on the twin currencies of fear and money. In Yonkers, those two things really tore the town up.
If Yonkers officials do not approve 200 units of public housing, I will find the city of Yonkers in contempt.
It's a story of integration in a neighborhood of people who were not willing to do so.
There was a need for more affordable housing. Yonkers had, for generations, put it in one very tiny area of the city to keep the city hyper-segregated.
The judge said 200 units of low-income housing were to be built in the predominantly white, affluent part of town.
It set off a bomb.
Your father would be ashamed of you! You're a sleaze! You're a sleaze, Wasisco!
I played Nick Wasisco, who was the youngest mayor of America at the time.
How old are you? I'll be 28 in May.
Nick was basically thrown to the dogs by his higher-up, saying, "We're going to run you for mayor." They were imagining they were going to sacrifice him.
He knocked off the six-time incumbent by saying, look, the difference between him and me is I voted to appeal the housing. He voted not to appeal.
As soon as he got in, he found out that there was no grounds for appeal.
I voted for the appeal, and I lost. Nothing I could do about that.
They can't blame you.
Like a lot of people, he didn't foresee how bad the housing fight was going to be.
You promised us an appeal. You have succeeded in raping the voters of this city.
They tore him apart. They said, "You lied to us." They would come and protest at the council meetings. Nothing could get done.
He was going to be a great mayor and have all these wonderful things that he was going to do. And then Judge Sand comes down and says, you know, this housing has to be built, and everything changed.
People were very upset about the idea that their property values would be somehow compromised by public housing.
200 of these damn townhouses are within walking distance of my house, and I don't want it.
She's part of this very strident group that opposes it, and she doesn't want this element down her street.
These were people who felt that they were fighting for their community, and they really felt that they were right and they were justified.
You can see here what public housing always leads to. Crack jungles.
Alfred Molina plays Hank Spallone. And he was one of the people who said, "I'm going all the way. We're saying no to this judge." And people loved him because he was the one guy that was going against the whole system.
I swore an allegiance to you, the voters, and I'm gonna keep that allegiance to you. And I got a message for Judge Sands. Nuts to Judge Sands.
Hank was incredibly popular, and he spoke to his constituency in a way that was very direct, very passionate.
I'm for taking this to the Supreme Court, appealing all the way.
Councilman, we don't have a chance before the Supreme Court.
These people wanted to fight it. The federal government said you can't fight it.
White Yonkers thought this decision's got to be wrong. And they looked at Nick, and then he had to tell them the truth. There is no fight. We're a nation of laws, and we've lost.
This housing project was legislated to be there. It was unconstitutional not to put it there, and yet it was delayed and delayed for political reasons.
Maybe it was just naive to think that if the federal government has given you a mandate of what is, that you could actually say no, because that's what they did.
If Yonkers officials continue to ignore this court's order and do not approve 200 units of public housing, I will impose a daily fine beginning at $100 the first day and doubling every day thereafter until Yonkers is bankrupt.
Yonkers nearly ceased to exist. The fines reached such a level that the city of Yonkers was shutting down.
Doomsday plan calls for laying off 447 employees, almost a quarter of the workforce by Saturday.
Yonkers is the kind of city where you hand the politician a list of people who are about to be fired, and they know those people.
The cost is real.
I mean, these are people I shared backyard barbecues with.
That's when this crisis ended.
How come the only people talking about this damn housing thing are white?
We also follow the lives of 4 women who were public housing residents. They were some of the bravest women I know.
My character lives on the west side in these housing projects called Schlobom. So when she hears that these units of public housing are going to be built, she sees this as this major opportunity to change her children's lives. And they're still living well, they're still thriving because this did happen.
If you could move, would you?
My home is my home. Everybody wasn't trying to integrate. Good, bad, indifferent, everybody wasn't trying.
They don't want to live with us, and why should we want to live with them?
It just shows how much fear there is on both sides. Fear of losing what you know to what you don't know.
In the end, the housing got built, and it wasn't a problem. The people moved in, and it's not a problem to this day, those units. But at the time, it pretty much collapsed the city government.
And action.
My agents called me and said, David Simon has a new miniseries. And I said, say yes. They said, great, well, we'll send you the scripts. And I said, no, say yes, and then send me the scripts.
As soon as they start coming, and the moment they stop, we stop.
David has taken a very complicated story and simplified it. And Paul is doing all 6 hours.
One of the most exciting things about this miniseries, it shows you justice at work.
This was the early 90s when this happened. This isn't like Alabama in the 50s.
The federal case was only settled in 2007. This is recent history.
F. Scott Fitzgerald said, show me a hero and I'll write you a tragedy.
It's just a very human story about this young guy trying to find his way through this mess. It's one of the most emotionally demanding roles I've played.